Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be listening to one of my favorite songs, and actually a song that got me into the world of classical music and opera. Although this is not a classical piece by any means, it's kind of the first stepping stone I took into that world. And that is, of course, The Prayer, sung by Andrea Bocelli and Celine Dion. This is a live performance from 2015. I'm really excited to listen. Let's go.
I pray you'll be alright and watch us where we go and help us to be wise in times when we don't know.
It's such an iconic song, and this video alone has almost 200 million views. So there are a lot of fans of this song, and who doesn't love Celine Dion? It's very sad that Celine has been recently diagnosed with a disease called stiff person syndrome. This prohibits her from singing and performing. As we get older, there's wear and tear on our voice, and if your vocal health and your vocal technique isn't that great, then it's going to be a steep decline. But Celine has maintained her voice over the many years and many hundreds and thousands of performances that she's done because she knows how to take care of her instrument. In fact, both Celine and Andrea have very, very good vocal technique, and that's why they're singing into their 50s, 60s.
Let this be our prayer when we lose our way. Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, to a place where we'll be safe.
One thing I really like about Celine's voice is that she's able to switch between her chest voice and into her head voice or falsetto. She can make that flip really easily and seamlessly. You can very subtly hear this flip when she sings "Guide Us with Your Grace."
Guide us with your grace, to a place where we'll be safe.
And that's all in her chest voice.
I pray we'll find your light and hold it in our heart when stars go out each night.
I love this duet in their voices because it shows the different vocal qualities between two performers. They're both very good and very accomplished, but hearing them back to back like that, it shows the true differences. Andrea has a lot of classical technique in his background, and that's how he sings now. It's very, very clean, and he wouldn't necessarily use vocal effects like breathiness or raspiness in his tone. It's just not his vibe. Whereas Celine is much more likely to use some breathiness in her tone, so you can really, really clearly hear the difference between the two voices. When Pavarotti was doing his Pavarotti and Friends concerts, he was singing with so many singers and many different genres, and it was super, super clear how different the technique was. You know, there were these singers like rock singers and pop singers that were doing a lot of raspiness and breathiness, whereas Pavarotti was doing purely classical technique. It's very interesting to hear the difference. Let's go back a few seconds and listen again and see if you can hear those vocal differences between Bocelli and Dion.
And hold it in our heart when stars go out each night.
Even on that one note, he's singing a very pure tone and the vibrato's happening naturally, whereas Celine is singing more with a breathy sound, and that's totally her vibe, and that's completely acceptable. It's just different sounds.
Let this be our prayer.
Since we're on the topic of vocal technique, I want to point out one little thing that Celine does that I think is really, really effective and that you can do as well, and that's modifying her vowels. I talk about this a lot with my students and on my YouTube channel, is that when you're singing high in your range, if there is a word or a vowel that is really difficult to sing up there, just change it. Instead of singing, let this be our prayer, and enunciating all the different vowels and consonants, it's kind of higher in her range, so she has to make a change. And what she does is, let this be our prayer. We understand what it is. She's just singing an A vowel. Simple as that.
Let this be our prayer.
So that gives her the opportunity to sing a really pointed, really forward, kind of belty sound on the word our, instead of going, let this be our prayer, and it being kind of too circular.
Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, give us faith so we'll be saved.
I love watching and listening to Andrea perform because he really feels the music, and he has to. As a blind singer, he has to really listen, and I'm pretty sure he has perfect pitch. He has to listen to the other performers, he has to listen to the orchestra, and because he can't see, his ears are really tuned to everything that's going on around him. I don't think I've ever heard him sing out of tune.
Sogniamo un mondo senza più violenza, un mondo di giustizia e di speranza. Ognuno dia la mano sua, simbolo di pace, di fraternità.
I'm sorry, but I had to pause it there because there's too much to unpack. One thing I want you to notice is how absolutely still Andrea Bocelli is at all times. He gives us an absolute masterclass in vocal technique every time he sings. He doesn't have to do any extra movements to get high notes. He can just use his breath from below and the sound happens. So this is a valuable lesson to any of you who are watching this that want to become a better singer. You do not have to add extra weird movements to get certain notes. You just don't have to do it. So they're singing un mondo di, and it's an E vowel, but if you look at Andrea's mouth right now, it's not in the shape of an E vowel. If we do this, un mondo di, what happens here? Everything in our neck tightens up, the face muscles, they all tense up. Instead, he's singing D, E, north-south vowel, keeps it relaxed, still sounds like an E vowel. If he did un mondo di, then he's stuck in this gross, nasty, crunchy place. We don't want that.
Mondo di giustizia e di speranza, ognuno dia la mano sua, simbolo di pace, di fraternità.
Yes, I'm pausing it again, going back a few seconds so you can see something that Celine is doing really well, and that is supporting her sound. You can actually physically see her do it. So I want you to watch sort of the waistline of her dress, and I want you to see how much expansion she gets.
Simbolo di pace, di fraternità.
So she takes a nice big breath, but it's a low breath. She's using her lower abdominals to support that sound because she knows if I'm singing with Andrea Bocelli, I have to support. I have to try and not compete with his sound, but I have to match it so I don't get drowned out. I think Celine sounds her best when she's higher in her range and she adds sort of a snarly tone to her voice. What she does is she modifies certain vowels and brings it really forward. I hesitate to say that it's a nasal sound because she's French Canadian, so her actual nasal sound would be much more, it would be more internal like that, but this is very forward and very, very, I don't know, snarky, or snarky's the wrong word, like, snarly or biting, like she's gonna bite into an apple or something. Let's go back a few seconds and listen to it again. She only does it on certain notes, but it's such a Celine Dion-ism. Love, right there. It's not just love, it's love.
Let this be our prayer.
Let this be your prayer.
Just like every child.
Just like every child.
There it is again, that brightness. She's showing her front teeth, whereas Andrea, his sound is more neutral, I'd say, whereas hers is more forward.
Needs to find a place. Guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be saved.
When you're singing a duet, maybe you're gonna sing this duet, you have to really listen to what your partner's doing. If they're doing a lot of vibrato, then maybe you have to try and match them. Or maybe they're waiting a few seconds and doing straight tone and then doing vibrato. You have to really listen to what they're doing, and vice versa. They have to listen to you. Because a duet doesn't need to sound like one voice, but two voices that are on the same page.
Sento che ci salverò.
Yes, okay. So many things going on in just that tiny little measure. You have flat 6, flat 7, 1. Those are the chords that are used at the end of this song. What a flat 6, flat 7, 1 does is it uplifts us. Uplifts us. Uplifts us. The song is called The Prayer, so that uplifting feeling totally works here. Here are the ingredients for that final note Bocelli sings so beautifully. The first thing is breath support. You're nothing without breath support. So he's got lots of expansion in the ribs, he's releasing his pelvic floor, and as that note goes, because it's a long one, his lower abdominals are slowly coming in. He'll feel that slow burn at the end of the note. The second thing is space in the mouth. Now, he always has space when he sings. We need space in the back, but he keeps the front relatively small or relatively closed, and that's completely fine. We actually call that term convergence, where the front of the mouth is small, the back of the mouth is really big. Now, for this final note, he opts to open the front of his mouth a little more. Why does he do this? He wants more tone. He wants a little bit more brightness, I think, in the sound. So it's not, oh, it's, ah. The mindset, I think, here is that it's a really high note and he has to hold it for a long time. So he says, well, I'm not going to darken the vowel because I'll probably go flat. I'm going to brighten the vowel to keep me almost above the pitch so I don't drop. Two legendary performers, music and the world is simply a better place because they're in it. That's it for today's video, my friends. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Check out my Patreon if you want to support me as a creator. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.